Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video and would like to receive notifications of my future videos, please subscribe. For my fast cooking system, advanced prepping is an central part of how the system works. However, I understand that most people do not like to do preps until they see the value of the prep in helping them to cook with spontaneity and creativity. One subscriber wrote to me once and she said, I really don't like to cut up things. But I'm going to get my husband more involved. In this video, I want to tell you the story about my friend Robert. He actually become very involved in the prepping and it provide a tremendous boost for his wife. I have known Robert for many years. He doesn't cook and he involved very little in the kitchen because his wife, Sammy, is an excellent cook. In many ways, she just preferred that he gets out of the kitchen because when he's in the kitchen, he just keeps talking and interrupt her when she cooks. Robert retired about 3 years ago and he has been kind of looking for things to do to help out his wife because Sammy is still working. She is a high school science teacher. Once I had coffee with Robert and he told me that he really would like to do something in the kitchen with his wife and he just kind of wondered what he could do. And then he said to me, he said, you know, one thing I could help is that I could cut up things. One thing I know Sammy would really like me to do is because she likes onion, but she could not cut onion without tearing all the time. And so for this reason, she always have a lot of hesitation when she comes to a dish that require her to cut up onion. I then told Robert, well, that's one thing you definitely could do. Cutting up onion is very simple. I can show you how to cut up onion in many different ways. I bet you're going to like that very much. Oh, there's 1 week during the summer that Robert's wife has to go away to attend a teacher conference. She was going to be gone for 1 week. So Robert gave me a call and he said, why don't you come over and show me how to cut onions? I know I can master it pretty quickly, and when she comes back, this will be a great surprise for her. Well, I'm always game for something fun and interesting. So I said, I will be there tomorrow morning. So in the morning, I gathered my vegetable knife, and then I went to the store and I bought some yellow onion. When I arrived at Bob's house, he's all ready to go. I can see his excitement about learning how to cut onion. I think the main reason is because she really wants to help Sammy in the kitchen. So the first thing that I show Robert to do is how to use the Craw technique for cutting. The idea of the Craw technique is very simple. As shown in this video, what you do is that you curl up your finger and basically you tuck your fingertips below your knuckles. And so this way, when the knife is come into contact with your knuckle and the back of your fingers, your fingertips is out of the way. I tell Robert, if you want to keep your fingertips safe, never extend your fingertip when you cut. The first thing I show Robert to do is that how to peel the skin of the onion without detach the root of the onion. And the approach is very simple. What you do is that you use a knife and peel off the layer of the onion at the tip of the onion. This way you will see the different layers and you can peel off the layer that you don't want. This method is not only very simple, but it also avoids the release of the chemical molecules that usually cause people to tear. I tell Robert the most important thing that you want to do is to keep the root of the onion intact, because the root will hold the onion together and make the cutting much easier. I show Robert the easiest way to cut the onion is cut them into thin slices. So in here, I demonstrate to him is that you simply hold the knife in such a way and curl your finger with that claw technique method that I just mentioned, and you just go down the way and you simply slice the onion. You slice it from one side and then you slice it from the other side until you get to the center of the onion where the root is located. One advantage of the claw technique is because your finger, the knuckle of your finger is constantly in contact with the back of the knife, so you can actually cut the slice extremely thin. So I let Robert to cut several onions to give it a try. Very quickly, he got the idea how the claw technique worked, and he was able to slice the onions almost paper thin. So next, I'm going to show Robert how to cut the onion into large chunks. Again, the root of the onion is critical. You want to keep that intact. So if you want to cut the onion into large chunks, basically what you do is that you score the onion along the edge, and you move all the way from one side to the other. The important thing is that when you score the onion, do not cut all the way through. You want the roots to stay intact. Because having the roots intact, you have much more flexibility in hang on to the onion without the pieces falling apart. So Robert and I practicing cutting onion into different sizes. We actually have a lot of fun doing that. The next cutting technique I want to show Robert is that how to dice onion. Now, dicing onion is always difficult. If you have the onion already cut up into chunks like the one I've shown here, dicing them actually take quite a bit of effort, and they never will come to the kind of size that you are looking for. The best way to dice the onion, in fact, is an extension of cutting the onion into chunks. So in this case, what you do is that you score the onion very close to each other. Again, using the claw technique, you can score very thin sizes. It is important that you do not score all the way to the root of the onion, because you want the root to hold the onion together. The smaller you want the size of the dice going to be, you score it closer to each line. So I told Robert, next then you turn the onion around, and now you slice the onions perpendicular to the root. This method worked extremely well. As you can see, when you do that, the onion comes into this tiny little dice, but they're all evenly sized. Robert really liked this method. He thought that is the coolest technique. So for the next hour, we will just keep dicing onions. And Robert becomes so good at it with the claw technique, he actually can talk to me without have to pay too much attention what he was doing. And this is the beauty of the claw technique, because you always know where the knife is because of the tactile contact that you have between your back of your finger and the knuckle with the blade of the knife. We spent about 3 or 4 hours and cutting and dicing onion, and then we have lunch together, and then I went home. About 1 week later, I got a phone call from Sammy. She said to me, "What did you do to my husband? Did you sprinkle some magic potion on him? He is now such a expert in the kitchen." I have a friend who works in a medical center in the Midwest, and her job is to provide marriage counseling. And she said one thing they actually have been doing is that to have couples who have problems with each other and to cook together. She told me the common saying that she said, cooking together, staying together. And I could not agree with that more. Therefore, I think it is really important for couples to spend time together in the kitchen, because this is truly a time that both individuals can enjoy the quietness and the joy of cooking together. A couple of months later, Robert and I had coffee again. I asked Robert, "So how are things going?" And Robert said, "It is great because not only I'm cutting onion now, but I also start doing other prep." And he said, "I really enjoy the prepping process." And he said, because of this, he and Sammy are able to cook so many more different things than they have done in the past. In fact, he asked me that could I show him how to do stir fry in the wok. I told him, of course, this will be my pleasure, and I will give him private lessons. Therefore, I think it is important to get involved in the kitchen. Maybe first start out by doing prepping, and gradually, when a person becomes more familiar with the ingredients, I think the natural interest will come up and they want to do more. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please click the like icon below, because this will help me to expand my audience base. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you'd like to receive notifications of my future video postings. I'll see you next time.